You have Tourette's. Two black actors get on stage to discuss a movie that is grappling with difficult situations and a history within the African American community, right? You yell a slur, but you have Tourette's. So people at the baseline understand that you are not always in control of what you're saying. But people do have some questions regarding why would you do that tick at that time? Is there an association for you subconsciously with black folks and the slur? You don't answer any of this. Neither does the awards show. You in fact issue what one can only call a statement because it was not an apology that basically says, if I offended you, my bad. Not, hey, nobody should be confronted with that slur. People should not even have to experience that word being hurled at them. And the awards didn't even reference the fact that it was filmed 2 hours before it aired, so the slur could have been bleeped out. Considering that other folks who said free Palestine and shit, that got trimmed out. That's not included in the actual airing. Nobody takes accountability. Nobody. And y'all are turning to people who are saying the use of this word is harmful, the airing of this word is harmful, and saying you're ableist. Are y'all fucking serious? A statement I would issue if I were John Davidson, and that I would accept. To be clear, I am not and do not speak for all black people, nor do I want to. On the evening of Sunday, February 22nd, during the BAFTA ceremony, I uttered a racial slur as part of an involuntary vocal tic associated with my Tourette syndrome. I want to offer a sincere and unreserved apology for the word I said. Although my vocal tics are neurological and involuntary, I fully recognize that this word carries a deeply painful and traumatic history. I am profoundly sorry for the harm, discomfort, and distress this caused. I want to apologize directly to Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and to the black audience members, viewers, and communities who may have been hurt by this incident. Regardless of my intent, I understand that impact matters, and I deeply regret that this occurred in such a public setting. Tourette syndrome can cause involuntary vocalizations that do not reflect personal beliefs, values, or character. However, I do not want that reality to minimize the very real harm associated with this moment. I take seriously the weight of this language and the feelings of those affected. I also want to acknowledge the Tourette syndrome community. People with Tourette syndrome exist fully, visibly, and authentically in public spaces without shame. Accountability and dignity are not mutually exclusive. We are allowed to show up as we are, to be respected, and when necessary, to learn and grow in the public sphere like anyone else. I remain committed to education, awareness, advocacy, and respectful dialogue, and I am truly sorry to anyone who was hurt. Because otherwise we have folks like this who kind of lean into the narrative that it's just a word. Y'all have been screaming coprolalia for 2 days straight. We understand that people can have tics that make them say the most offensive thing possible at that time. The thing that they want to say the least is the thing they end up saying out loud. Do you understand that we understand that? Now that we're on the same page, to avoid you building straw man arguments or avoiding the actual issue here, what I said in that video was he issued a statement that was everything but an apology. I have also posted on my page what a statement that was not apologizing for having a disability, because he should not have to apologize for having a disability, but in fact apologizing for the harm that has been caused on my page. Y'all just don't empathize with black folks. Y'all want everyone to experience all of this empathy for John Davidson, and nobody's saying that they didn't. But when he released that statement that showed that he did not have empathy for black folks are like, now wait a fucking minute, that might be a little racist. That's the whole thing here. Nobody is saying he should not have said that. There are people who feel like, yeah, he associated the word with black folks and that's why he said it, which according to the definition that we're talking about here, yes, that's why he said it. Doesn't mean he feels that way, but him not being sorry might imply that he feels that fucking way. He said, I am mortified for y'all to think that I did that on purpose. Not I'm mortified that I did that to 2 of the best actors of our generation. I'm not mortified that people at home who have triggers with the words had to hear that. I'm not mortified that the other black members of the audience had to hear that. And then said, go watch my movie. But we're ableist? Slur. He said a slur. Y'all keep saying he said a word. He said the word slur. If you're going to talk about it right. He said a slur. However, I think that a lot of y'all do not realize that as much as you're being the ableism police, y'all are participating in benevolent ableism, right? He does not have a disability that makes him an exception to social or societal norms. If you cause a person harm, whether intended or unintended, you should apologize. That's what we're saying here. Y'all keep trying to come up with every excuse in the book as to why he doesn't owe anybody anything, and even going as far as to say he apologized to them privately. Well, another norm is if you disrespect or harm someone in public, the apology should also be public. And you should also apologize to everyone you hurt, right? So there should be an apology to the black community at large, because Michael B. Jordan and Delroy are not even the only people who heard him say that word in person that night. There's that. But also, it was broadcast. And while you're saying, okay, BAFTA should have edited it out, BBC should have edited it out, those are true, but that's not every single Black person that was there that night. And regardless, we've heard it now. And you're the person who said it. What's the harm in saying, oh, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to hurt y'all. And I'm so sorry. Without, and go watch my movie at the end. Like, that's not, it's giving sales tactic. It's not giving actual apology. Sarah, I mean this with all sincerity. I think you're a fucking nitwit. There's no way you could have seen an entire playlist of videos and have missed the point unless you are a fucking nitwit. Like, I think you're trying to rage bait me, because honestly, there's nothing that rage baits me more than a fucking nitwit coming in the comments, ignoring all fact, reasoning, and logic, and saying, no, you're being ableist. Like, one, if you are actually making excuses for this behavior that could be easily rectified, you're infantilizing him. That's ableist. That's ableist. That's a grown-ass man. Grown enough to attend the awards, grown enough to have a own fucking movie, and therefore grown enough to fucking apologize. However, since you are committed, absolutely committed, just dug both heels in committed to misunderstanding the point, I would like to add that in addition to being a nitwit, you're a fucking racist. How do I know you're a fucking racist? Because you are interacting with Black folks as though they do not understand, despite the fact that they have showcased to you that they understand and that they are talking about a specific issue, and you trying to circumnavigate the harm done to Black folks at any and all costs is racist. You fucking nitwit.